Gamers of Reddit, what is the most epic boss fight in all of gaming? Lavas from Chrono Trigger, you finally beat the hideous thing, only to discover that you've merely beaten its outer shell. The real Lavas is inside. Time to save the world. Yes, the music for this fight is incredible, and I absolutely loved that the fight went back through all the bosses you'd beaten throughout the game, forcing you to remember how to defend against certain attacks, and what its weaknesses were. That was such a great boss battle. I really love the Nameless King from DS3. DS3's final boss of the main game is great as well. Gigas in Earthbound. He's the living embodiment of evil and his mind is slowly disintegrating while you're fighting him. At one point the game actually starts talking directly to you and not your character. Heavy crap for the target demo of that game. That's some Eternal Darkness level fuckery right there. So powerful that you can't even beat it by yourself. You have to pray for the help of the people you've met throughout your journeys. Amazing game. Psycho Mantis from MGS1. As a 10-year-old kid, him using the rumble to move your controller was the coolest thing ever. That boss battle was innovative in so many ways. My brother and I actually defeated him without changing controller ports. It took every last bit of health, but we managed to hit him one last time before an untimely death. When we found out you could cheap him out, we were pretty sad at the loss of all our rations. Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, from Dark Souls. Haunting soundtrack made that fight for me and really tested all the skills you had to acquire to reach him. For me, Halo 2, the scarab thing that stomps all over the city that you have to chase down and get a sword. Epic to me anyway. Dear humanity, we regret being alien bastards, we regret coming to Earth, and we most definitely regret that the core just blew up our raggedy ass fleet. I remember that scene being so epic, with all the pelicans coming in hot, jeeps hauling ass, snipers on the rooftops. Good times. The end in Metal Gear Solid 3. That would be my first choice too. I thought it was clever how if you saved right when the fight started, then went back to it a week later or whatever, the end had died of old age waiting for you. It was also a nice touch that you could snipe and kill him while he was in the wheelchair during the scene on the dock with Colonel Vol'jin. You don't get to fight him later if you do that though. The flagship from FTL. That's the one. Killed the whole crew only for the ship to go eye on me. Absolute panic. This was a situational boss fight for me. My buddy who is trash at playing video games was playing Resident Evil 4 because I always played that game. I have completed it several times on both normal and professional as it is one of my favorite games. Well, my buddy had miraculously made it to the part where you have to fight both of the Gigants and the mine, except he had no ammo left. He had saved prior, so either he had to magically make it through or restart the game. I took the controller and beat them with only the knife. It wasn't the easiest, but I freaking saved him from having to replay the entire game. Xemnas in Kingdom Hearts 2. I remember that boss battle being pretty intense when I was young. Yeah, Jesus Christ, you fight a dragon building airplane castle, and that's before you reach the real boss, which is 3 more stages. Zombie Nazi Princess Kenny Stick of Truth. King K. Rool at the end of each Donkey Kong Country game. Holy cow, that was the ultimate test for kid me. The music was so incredibly epic. The boss fight in the second was much harder but so rewarding when you beat him. Jetstream Sam and Senator Armstrong in Metal Gear Rising. Also the boss in Metal Gear Solid 3. The Sisters of Fate in God of War 2. Especially the part where you fight on top of the giant sword that you used in the first game to kill Raz. Cleric Beast and Gascoigne from Bloodborne. Those two starting bosses stand out the most to me. Cleric Beast was when you knew the game meant business. Gascoigne introduced you to the magic that was hunter fights. Wonderful start to a wonderful game. Poseidon. God of War 3. Any God of War boss fight really. A lot of the ones that come to mind for me are from FFX, Unalesca, the Omega Weapon, and the various Seymour fights in particular. Frick yes, that game had some great bosses. Brazka's finally in. That fight was the crap, and that fricking music, such a great game. Shadow Queen, Paper Mario, TTYD, hands down. The Phase 2 music really sealed it for me. I never got around to beating Skyrim on Xbox 360 for years. I'd play and play and play. Take my sneaky ninja archer to high level, doing everything, exploring every inch of the game. Take a lightning bolt caster mage up, take a summoner up, take a thieving backstabby guy up, all sorts of combos. It was all about the journey. Then one day I made a big freaking Nor with long black hair and long black beard and said I will never use magic on Sven. Sven's role in life is to split people in half with a great big axe. That is all there is in life. That is best in life. If Sven were a real person, he would be a surly non-comedic Gaston with a small heart of gold, drinking, fricking, and splitting people in half for the glory and defense of Skyrim is all there is to Sven. I only used shouts and crappy low level healing magic to lower downtime after fights. I never healed in battle ever. If I died and tried harder next time. I didn't kite. I didn't do strategy. I ran at the bad guy and hit it till it was dead. I didn't craft. I didn't do crap but run at things and cleave them. I didn't sneak. Ever. When I met the Assassin's Guild on him, my solution was to cleave them all. Frick everyone. This is my axe. It was the most fun I ever had in Skyrim. Turn off brain. Charge. Hack. One Saturday night, I realized that I had half a bottle of Jack Daniels left about a year or so ago. Our kid was out early from a long day, and I jokingly said to my wife, I want to get drunk and beat Skyrim at last. She said, go for it. I got him if he wakes up and you can sleep in. I began drinking. I began cleaving. I journeyed drunkenly to the halls of my fathers and Sovngarde and drank from their table and fricked up everything in my path. By the time I reached the afterlife, I was rip-roaring drunk. To her amusement, I barely drank since that night. The final battle isn't particularly hard against Anduin, but it's one of the most satisfying I've ever done. It's a great story conclusion. I rarely play Skyrim anymore. Nothing can compete with Sven's moment of glory. The last Witcher 3 DLC fight against that vampire. That crap gave me goosebumps. That was a great fight, but the best villain in the game was Odin. Truly terrifying. The Elite Four in Pokemon Blue and Red. I almost cried at the end because my team won and my Pokemon fought so hard. I was 10 at the time, then my batteries died. I thought fighting Red in Pokemon Gold was more epic. Fighting yourself from a previous game. Bowser, Yoshi's Island. Giant Bowser walking at you paired with that music was absolutely terrifying. For such a light-hearted game, that music was pretty freaking heavy. Any boss fight in Shadow of the Colossus. Easy. Sephiroth, Kingdom Hearts. Mr. Freeze from Batman, Arkham City. Good example of designing an open-ended boss battle. You really have start getting creative towards the end of the fight. Portal 1 and 2, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle Final Boss. The final hazard and Bio-Lizard were super fun to fight, although the Bio-Lizard was the bane of my existence. Although now that I've played it again semi-recently, like within a couple years, I can say with confidence that I've conquered my fears. It has to be the fight with Electrocutioner in Batman, Arkham Origins. But seriously, the Deathstroke fight right after that was definitely one of my favorites in the series. MGS4, Snake vs Liquid Fist fight on top of a submarine. When the old Snake theme started playing, I was blown away about how quickly an epic boss fight built up by a series of games just turned into a depressing fight between two old men ready to die. Ballas, Cave Story. Man, Cave Story was so good for what it was, and I agree, the ending was remarkably epic. Ganondorf Ganon in Zelda Root. That battle had phenomenal atmosphere on the N64 version. The darkness coupled with the music was so intimidating. Twilight Princess. Every boss battle is epic. Maybe not hard but epic. I think that special mention goes to Star-Lord, by virtue of being the most fun. Destiny's Vault of Glass Raid. Love the crap out of it. Illidan Stormridge. Not for mechanics, just cause he was boss, plus Warglaves. Keelthus 2. Mike Tyson in Punch-Out for the original NES. When that game came out there was no YouTube, no online walkthroughs, and no emulators. Just Iron Mike beating the ever-living crap out of you over and over. for me it's Ornstein and Smough in Dark Souls. I had to research how soapstone summoning worked online just to get someone to help me. Been back and played the game multiple times since and always get the same sense of relief when the last of either of them finally hit the deck. Fume Knight Dark Souls 2. It's a B to get to and even more of a B to beat after NG+. Ludwig the Accursed Ludwig, the Holy Blade from Bloodborne easily takes the top spot here. He perfectly encapsulates the gruesome, gory, violent and brutal feeling meant to be conveyed by the game. After killing him you feel like a true hunter and slayer of beasts, not to mention the lore significance attributed to him and the nostalgia for Dark Souls fans. Considering how intimidating and vile some of the beasts in this game already are, the fact that this boss takes it to another level is really impressive and makes him easily a top tier boss in Soulsborne. I'd like to say Portal 2, but I'm biased because of how many times I've killed Wheatley trying to match 6 portals. I'm at 7, but the jump to skip the 5th has so far proven itself impossible. Gotta admit though, literally shooting the moon is a nice touch. I'll be unorthodox and add in Halo CE. It's not actually the most epic boss fight, but I'd like to give the Warthog Run an honorable mention. In my opinion, it really does feel like you're fighting the map and time for survival, and it really was an incredible ending to a game that birthed an incredible series of games. Althean Destiny. Guardians make their own fate. Chills every time. Demise from Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Up in the sky fighting this giant black scaly thing with a sword bigger than you. Fun. Crow. Time Splitters 3. Black Dragon Calamite and Dark Souls. Not really an epic fight per se, but man, that feeling I had when I finally beat him. Never felt so much pride and satisfaction on a game than this moment. The Moon Lord is pretty sick. Or maybe the Cyberdeman from Doom 2016. Bowser from Super Mario Galaxy is also amazing. DJ Octavio from the single player campaign of Splatoon. Splatoon's single player isn't exactly the selling point of the game, but it's a great way for new players to learn a lot of the basics they'll need to know in online play. From a tactical sense, the final fight against Octavio brings together every single thing you've learned over the last few hours of gameplay and forces you to use every bit of it to take him down. You have to think fast, you have a lot of specific things to shoot at, and you need to be really quick in the final stages of the fight to not have to start all the way over. The other bosses are jokes compared to everything you have to do to beat Octavio, and even experienced players could end up with trouble if they don't know what's coming. From a flavor standpoint, it showcases all the game's zaniest humor. DJ Octavio is full of puns that he taunts you with the whole way through, all while he's spinning techno records with his wasabi plants. The whole thing gets my heart pumping, especially as the music changes near the end of the fight. I would say the final boss fight in Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenals. You know, the one you're against Dr. Nefarious. It was a pretty good final boss. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Beating Ganon. The music building, like the end of the world unless you win sort of music. The princess in need of saving. Fire surrounds you and the monster. She moans when you get hit. Freaking epic. I was 11 years old when I beat Ganon, so it was a big deal. You have been visited by the doggo of Wi-Fi upvote in 3.1459268 seconds to receive a secure connection. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.